The average millennial is consumed by debt and nonetheless still feels forced to put tomorrow's purchase on a credit card loan. Now, part of these decisions are caused by financial illiteracy, while most of it is programming taught by society around them. Getting taught from a young age to build your credit score up to 800 and take out 401k loans for vacations. In this video, let's spend some time together discussing the unfortunate reality that many adults are facing today. And if you personally have been finding yourself enjoying or unfortunately relating to any of my daily doomer commentaries over here on the page, then don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, opinions below, and subscribe to see my daily videos right here on the channel. And a huge shout out to the handful of you for checking out those links down below in the description. Those are some of the best ways to support me and the content right here. Now, let's begin this shit show.
The only difference between working for a wage and being a slave is that working for a wage is supposedly temporary.
Being a wage slave is the absolute worst thing that you can possibly do with your life.
It's just a fare, you know, it's a steady paycheck.
Or just take a damn job for a paycheck. Once you get into this shit, it just fucking latches onto you and you just can't get out.
You are selling your time for money.
This isn't what I was meant to do.
Well, you're free to leave at any time.
Yes, you're free to starve. That's exactly right.
When I started this job, I wanted to plan my escape.
But the plantation was more than an economic organization.
I mean doing meaningless work just to pay the bills.
A new report shows about 4 million Americans quit their jobs in April of this year.
I want to be doing what I want to do.
Yes.
I just want to build my own thing.
Time is the thing that is most valuable in your life. Because once I've spent time, it's gone.
Now, what never made all too much sense to me is that the employer can easily just fire you on a whim's notice. Well, you are, not forced to, but you're morally justified to give them a 2 weeks notice when you want to quit or have to quit or are making a life decision to change your whereabouts or whatever you're doing in life. And if you don't do that, good luck having that be on your resume for future, people to call, future references, that's the word I was looking for your next employers. Because they're just going to give you negative notation saying, oh, yeah, he was a good worker, but he didn't do the 2 weeks notice. And now that's going to put a bad mark on you. But if a company wants to let you go, or even if they want to hold the carrot over your head and threaten your job saying they can fire you and maybe even hold the firing whole consequence as a consequence over your head, it's a lot more severe when you lose the job versus when they lose you. Yeah, maybe you think you're a very big, important, part of the industry, and maybe you're a big part of the crew and the team that you work for in whatever business or sector or category you're in. But in reality, there's a long line of people really ready to replace you, and probably for even cheaper than what you're getting paid for that you think you deserve more for already right now. So maybe, yeah, the company will have a couple days with a little bit less work, and people that are there will have to pick up the slack from you not being there, but they'll replace you in a week or a month or eventually. Versus for you, who knows how long it'll take for you to get a job, especially in terms of the current, job market where many people are having a hard time getting employed or at least getting a sustainable income where, you can get employed, but you end up getting fired, get a job fired, resume after resume after resume. So, if you don't have savings, which many people don't, especially not in the modern day and age, how long can you really last without a income at all, or a stable income or a job? Let's say necessarily a regular 9 to 5, as they like to call it. Not many people can last very long. So when they're, kind of like threatening to fire you, they're threatening to take away your food, shelter, your life, and possibly even your actual life. You literally might die without the money. So it's crazy to think how the employers have such a huge rule over the employees versus the employees still have to, bow down and think and follow the rules, or else otherwise absolutely any of us can be next on the chopping block. But what are your thoughts, opinions down below? Do you feel like you're secure in your job? Have you always felt like no job is ever actually fully secure at the end of the day? Because any company can go bankrupt, even if you're in the biggest one. It happens to a lot of them, still is. Look at Sears and many other stores. And on top of all that, what is your whole idea on work? Do you feel like work is just a misconstrued concept these days, and money is just the root of all evil, but really is just a way to rule society? What do you think?
Political parties are the problem, and somehow the U.S. Constitution doesn't mention political parties at all. In fact, the founders warned against them. George Washington even called them a threat to national unity. But parties formed anyway. Federalists, then Democrats, Republicans, because people organize around power and ideas. It's human nature. But the problem is, parties now divide us more than they unite us, fueling tribalism and gridlock instead of common ground. Just 30 years ago, only 17% of Americans held deeply negative views of the opposing party. Today, it's over 55%. I'm Tony, and I'm trying to help us find common ground again. Follow for more.
The amount of videos I've watched and reacted to on this channel where many different individuals have cut off their family members, their friends, coworkers. They've quit their jobs because of their political differences, not liking the same sports teams, iPhone over Android, anything, whether it's the stupidest shit possible. People are they're so easily ready to divide themselves and divide amongst the group. It's almost like it's cool to be the hipster, the odd one out. Now in reality, it's like, it feels just nonstop, for no reason conflict. And I really think this is, a big part of why everybody feels so alone these days. The whole concept of loneliness, whether you're male, female, young, old, mostly adults, especially these new young adults, everything is so divided. And I feel like that's necessarily the way they want it to be. It's, divide and conquer. Everything's supposed to be like that. Yeah, there's red and blue in politics. There is the other ones, but they don't really exist. There's a bunch of different football teams, but you have your favorite and then your rival. It's iPhone, Androids. If you go to any store, if you want to get a Coke or a Pepsi, well, you can't have both at the same store. You can only have one at that store. There's actually laws behind that. I was going to make a whole video about that, but divide and conquer is the way they rule the earth or the world and the country. So it's kind of indoctrinated for us we're kind of meant to be this way, but I think it's a huge factor in the way people are feeling the way they are today. Lonely, lost, and like there's really no purpose in the world anymore because they can't really relate to anybody. It's like we're all just stuck in our own bubble. We're all just like that bubble boy, that movie where the boy was stuck in the bubble, couldn't breathe air. I don't know. That was a long time ago. I'm sure some of you guys still remember that. Anyway, what are your thoughts, opinions? Do you feel like everybody you know is just more divided than ever these days? Do you feel like people are just mindless sheep who just go along with the programming? Or is this all just a contradiction that's adding on to the drama that is 2025?
I've seen people talk about how millennials and Gen Z don't have the same spending power as like their parents. But one thing we don't talk about is how everything is now a subscription. Like you can't buy or own anything. Rent is a subscription. Netflix, water subscription, utilities, electricity subscription, like everything, it cannot be bought. It can only be licensed on a monthly basis. And what happens is you never get to a point where like those costs trail off. Like those costs are forever. They're in perpetuity every month until the end of the universe. And that's something like your folks or your grandparents didn't have to deal with. Because back in the day, like, not even a house, but let alone other things you could just buy outright. Like, you can't just buy Adobe anymore. You have to join one of their subscription plans. You can't just buy Microsoft Excel software. You have to stream spreadsheets now.
Now, comparison is the thief of joy. At least that's what they say, or that saying's been around for quite some time now. I'm sure you've heard it before. But it also is true that comparison is necessarily a good way to let you know how you're doing in your, path, where you are in the world and where you're at in your, journey. Now, there's always going to be people doing better than you. There's always going to be people doing worse than you, and you're always going to be who you are and nobody else. So let's get that straight front and forward right there on the table before we start this. But I do want to really mention how comparison does play some factors in reality where you compare, the dollar to how much it costs now versus a couple of decades ago, how much buying power you have versus your parents. And then you look at that and then you think about, oh, wow, how fucked are my kids going to be in terms of their buying power and, any sort of, will even the idea of a traditional lifestyle even exist? Or what is their traditional normal lifestyle going to look like for them in the not even so far decently near future? It's a scary thought to think, and many people with not much hope on the horizon don't really see any really positivity there. It's all negative in terms of mentally, physically, and reality. So what are your thoughts, opinions? Do you still hold on to a tiny sliver of hope in your heart, or has your mind taken over and you've seen too much that you can't unsee and you just realize that, wow, let's just see it how it is and it sucks? However well you think you're doing, wherever you are on your journey, and however far you're trying to get on your path, I'll let you know right now, if you were trying to do it about 25, 30 years ago, you probably would be a lot farther, a lot better off, and things would be a lot easier. But maybe that's not the case. If you were doing everything that we're talking about way back then, which realistically isn't even that long ago, feel free to let us know down below in the comments. We always love to hear the old people talk around here, as well as if you're just a new young adult and you're realizing how fucked the world is, let us know that down below, too. We always love to hear those compatible differences back and forth between the generations. what this channel is built on, and will continue to be discussed around here by me and the people and us. Anyway, huge shout out to all you guys who've been continuing to check out the channel. Checking out those links down below in the description. Those are always the best way to support me and the content around here, as well as just coming over here in the channel, stopping by day, and checking out my daily Doomer commentaries. I will continue to do these, as well as my evening live streams, which I've been having a great time chilling, chatting, getting to know you guys, the community. We have a great set of people around here, and I'm super excited to continue seeing us grow. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you, if you feel free, check out all the other long list of catalog, the vast list of catalog I have on my channel. More videos coming daily. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you in the next one. That's it for me for today. So